The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
All right, guys and gals, ladies and gents, my binary, non-binary friends, welcome back to Campy's Crew Choir Practice. Let's get it done today. Happy Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. Making it rain in this club from the Tactile Financial Studios in beautiful downtown Phillipsburg. I'm Campy. I'm your host. We're going to have a lot of fun today. I have amazing Blue in the room. I got Mo in the room. And real quick before we get started, let's congratulate Blue on the birth of her beautiful new grandson this week. Congratulations, Blue. Very exciting. Very nice. Very exciting.
You would think I'd have a sound effect for that. I really don't.
That's okay. A crying baby is a whole nother thing. But that's okay. We're pacing ourselves here. We're making it rain in this club. We got this. We're going to have fun today. We got a great show, awesome show ahead of us. I'm so excited to talk about this, and we have some great people coming on, which is going to be phenomenal. Before we do that real quick, I would like to, for a moment of silence, I want to recognize the fact that yesterday, May 2nd, was the 52nd anniversary of the unthinkable murder of Trooper Werner Forster of the New Jersey State Police, who was senselessly killed May 2nd, 1973. So in honor of him and all of the fallen, we're going to ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. So again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much to Mo and to Blue for being in the booth, to making all the magic happen. I get to sit here and run my mouth. They do all the smart stuff behind the scenes.
Smart stuff.
The good stuff, the interesting things. We have a great show. We're so excited because today we're going to be talking about literally the comm on the other end of the line, the initial first responders, the true first responders, the 911 operators, the dispatchers, the telecommunicators, whatever you want to call them, the guys and girls on the other end of the phone who get your frantic call and keep things calm and under control while you're panicking and shitting your own pants. Dropping a stage 5 Havana omelet in your drawers, you're making a mess. They're on the other end making mac and cheese, being like, you got this, no stress. Here's how you do CPR. We're going to make it rain. Ditch the bitch, make the switch. Let's get it done. On to the next one, no stress. That's how they do this. It really is. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it today. But first, before we get into that, again, 52 years ago, this is hard for me to comprehend, and I don't know why this one hits home for me more than others, but Trooper Warner Forster was murdered, senselessly murdered on the side of the road doing the job that we do, doing what we do, stopping a car. And Joanne Chesimard today is having a margarita or a martini somewhere in Cuba, living the dream, happy as can be, no grief, unfettered. And his family... Protected. Yep. Protected. And his family has paid the price for 52 years. Yeah. His son is a trooper as well. It defies logic in so many ways, and a lot of this goes. I mean, it goes back decades to mismanagement and mishandling of the criminal justice system. But to think about that, 52 years ago.
I'm sure the Democrats are very happy that she's getting her due process. Can't you have due process? Fucking morons. It's too early for me to get this angry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
And we haven't gotten to the larceny yet.
Kid show.
We're starting low. We're going with Coors Light. We're having fun. We're pacing ourselves today. No, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a great time. Again, my heart goes out to the family of Trooper Warner Forster and the entire New Jersey State Police for all of their losses throughout the years.
Hopefully something gets done. Supposedly there was something on the news where supposedly Trump is they plan on leaning on Cuba. I forget the number of fugitives Cuba's harboring, but supposedly that's on their to-do list, to lean on them, threaten them with I guess tariffs. Why not? What else?
I can see that.
And returning all those fugitives.
I could see that happening.
He named Chesimard by name specifically.
How great would that be? How great would that be? That would be the most epic perp walk ever, getting her.
Callahan says he has Forrester's cuffs ready to go on her when she lands. That would be fucking right.
That gives you chills.
Yes.
Oh,
that would be amazing.
Oh man. So a couple quick facts about today, May 3rd. This day in 1802, Washington, D.C. was incorporated as a city. Look how far we've come, right?
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I mean, really, bro?
I found that interesting because it's a shithole today. I don't know what it was then, but I think we could have done better. We got panhandlers, blowjob artists, and that's just in the Capitol building. So I can only imagine.
That's before you leave a police locker room.
That's before you leave.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
Also, back in this day, West Virginia imposed the first ever sales tax. That's kind of interesting. Again, we're falling down the slide pretty bad. But on a good note, in 1936, Joe DiMaggio made his major league debut and got 3 hits. So there we go. We're ending on a positive.
It started slow.
There you go.
3 hits.
See that? Yeah. Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
You should have a 5-hour energy, bro.
I'm working on that. Oh, it's chilling. It's chilling. Stand by. We're gonna make it happen. All right, back to dispatcher. So, any guy and girl on the job, well, in our day it was a little different, but any guy and girl on the job knows that your lifeline to getting help, to getting answers, to getting information, to getting your calls is the telecommunicator, the 911 operator, the dispatcher. Call them whatever you want, depending what region you're in. They're called radio operators, bunch of different things. These guys and girls show up each day and they answer the call, literally the call for service. And they literally answer these calls, from the most ridiculous, stupid cat stuck in a tree to my kids won't go to bed and all that crap, right down to my child is not breathing. When you think about that, these are the people who answer the call, get the wheels turning, get the ball rolling, and get help on the way. And in the process, they're dealing with so much trauma, so much grief, so much chaos, so much anxiety. And that's oftentimes just from the patrol guys. That's before you even get to the.
That is 100% true. But
Right?
don't worry, but that goes both ways because I'll just send you on ghost calls. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I think there's a loose dog. Yeah, and you pick like the furthest street. I'm gonna send you to the farthest area out of town, like right to the edge. I think yes, there's a report of a dog running around the street. Can you go check that out? Unfounded.
So Mo and I were fortunate where we cut our teeth in law enforcement by becoming, at the time, dispatchers, I guess we were called, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Telecommunicator.
Radio operator. Yeah. So there's different trains of thought to this and different ways it goes. But as you start your career, if you want to get into law enforcement, back when we were getting on, you had to earn your keep as a dispatcher. So you started as a dispatcher. For me, it was 1994, Fairhaven Police Department. I was so excited. To this day, they're about to knock down our old headquarters. We've got a beautiful brand new headquarters. But to this day, the walls that were initially white are antique yellow from all the nicotine that's just covered the walls. The old C-Plims computer, all of the old like artifacts from back in the day. The dispatch console that had the lightning bolt going through the transmit button. Remember the red transmit? Yeah. So many things that I think of, and I was so excited by when I got on the job. And you started as a dispatcher. Your first day answering calls, answering the phone, answering the radio, sending the guys and girls out on the street to the calls for service, taking the ridiculous calls from the the people calling in, the good, the bad, the otherwise, and everything in between. But that's how you learn. That's how you cut your teeth. That's how you got your experience. You learned your 10 codes. You learned your motor vehicle violations. You learned how to use NCIC, SCIC, state DMV, and all that fun stuff. And it was a coming of age, so to speak. From there, you became a class 1, maybe a class 2, and ultimately earned your keep and became a regular. My days as a dispatcher, I think I have just as many funny stories from being a dispatcher as I do from being on the job.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
100%. One of our guys in Wyckoff, Pete Goodman, I'll never forget. He pranked. We had a girl that was working there, and not that she got upset easily, but you could fluster her. She didn't like getting yelled at. So Wyckoff at the time had put this new cell tower right behind the building. So he calls in. He goes to one of the back offices and he calls in like he's a resident. And he's named alveolar, which is, I guess, what's that? That's the breath for DWI, like, alveolar and
alveolar breath.
Yeah. So he's alveolar and he's calling in and he just is ripping into her. He's like, I go away on vacation. I come back and there's a goddamn phone tower in my backyard. She's like, sir, I'm sorry. I know you're upset. He's like, oh, well, of course I'm upset. Do you see this fucking thing? And he's like, and meanwhile, we're all just dying, laughing. And then, yeah, obviously, he comes out later and says, no, Jen, I'm only kidding.
The ball busting was so much fun because it was so easy to do. And way back, I mean, the lines were recorded, don't get me wrong, but they were recorded on reel to reel. It was
different time.
Oh,
different
man.
Time.
Could you imagine today, like throwing a pack of Black Cat firecrackers in dispatch and get it?
Why would you do that to your dispatchers, you fucking mutt? What is wrong with you?
It was a different time.
Yeah, you're that guy, man.
It really was. I think it was because it was done to me. I think I just paid it forward, so to speak.
But no, and you hit the nail on the head with it being a stepping stone. I mean, that's literally how I met the guy that was best man at my wedding, Mike Musto. He had come to me. This is why I love that guy. He had come to me literally my first day, and he's like, "Listen, if you want to turn this into a career, I can help you. Because he did the same thing. He had dispatched for Wyckoff and then went on to be a Wyckoff cop. So he started that grooming process day one. And you're right. You have access to everything that patrol has access to. So if you want to learn, it's a great place to learn. It's a you're not on the road, so you have nothing to do but absorb information. And you see cops obviously on a daily basis. You see how they operate. You see what they go through. You see their routines. You literally can groom yourself.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity. I know I had said to you earlier, I wish I had known at the time, because again, once you develop that aspiration that you do want to turn it into something, there's always that pressure hovering over your head, where it's like you don't want this to be your final stop. So I wish I knew at that time that it wasn't going to be my final stop, because I would have gotten more out of it. And I did get a lot out of it. I mean, I know I told you before, I'm not going to hog your air, but I did get a lot out of it. Yeah, it was great.
No, hit it. Anything you want, please, because this is what's exciting about this is these are our experiences, and this is what makes it fun. And right now, there's people out there listening who are thinking they might want to get in this.
Yeah,
they may not. This might either encourage them or deter them completely. It can go a number of ways. They don't do the black cats anymore, by the way. We don't throw fireworks at our dispatchers anymore. They frown on that. That's a whole human resources thing. We didn't have human resources back then either.
No. There was no such thing.
We had big gulps. I think that was our walking it off. You know, what's funny is we working for a small department, as I did back in the day. We were able to do ride-alongs. So being a dispatcher, I'd come in, I'd work, and then I'd go out and do ride-alongs before my shift or after my shift. So I got a chance to see both sides, which made it that much more beneficial for me being on the desk. So when we got the call, you know, calling out a car stop, running the driver, then they were getting out for field sobriety tests. I knew after that, it was time for me to go plug in the box. They don't even do that anymore. But plugging in the box was plugging in the breathalyzer because it had to heat up for 30 minutes. Warm up the box. The light had to go, right?
Ampules. What are those?
Ampules. Yep, to this day.
Dude,
yeah,
bro,
remember?
Not just a hat rack, my friend. I'm telling you.
And that was what we did.
Yeah.
You know?
Heat the box up, yo.
Yeah. We'd fire up the box, then we'd see it. So we'd hear the call, we'd answer the call, we'd process, we'd call the tow truck, the wrecker, whatever it was. They'd come in with the person in custody, come in, set them down in the processing room. We had the box warmed up. We'd get to see the whole thing work out. We'd print out their DMV history and go from there. And it was fun to see it come to fruition, which was great. Nowadays, you have just as much, but the dispatchers and telecommunicators today have so much more to do because a lot of cases, especially in Monmouth County, it looks like a war room. It really looks like a war room. They've got screens all over. It looks like, remember the movie War Games? Now I'm dating myself. NORAD?
Yeah.
All right.
How about a nice game of chess? Yes. All right, yeah. We're definitely retards. Yeah, 100%. Can you say retards?
Yes. Well, I'm 1/13th percentartation, so it's okay. I'm in a protected class.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Excellent.
good. No, we can say that. We're totally good. We're in the tree of trust here. It's all good.
Yeah. But no, and it's funny. That's another funny. I had they brought back a drunk, and I mean, I'll use his name. It doesn't make a difference. He's an awesome guy. Terry Murphy, Wyckoff cop. He was at the time. I'm sure he's fat and old now, but at the time he was a fucking monster. I mean, he was 6 feet tall, 250-pound jiu-jitsu guy, like just a monster. And he stops a car out on 208, and the guy he just wants to, he's gonna let the guy go. Like, he's not even gonna give him a summons, and the guy starts flipping out, like punching the ceiling of the car. And he's screaming at him. He's like, "I'm guilty. Arrest me!" Like, and this Terry's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, get out of here!" Ends up being a drunk. He brings him back, and he's like this big Polish roofer. Like, if you could just picture, like, not a muscular guy, but like just a guy just carries hundreds of pounds up and down a ladder. No OSHA, nothing like that. Like, just up and down, just a huge, strong guy. And Uzbek. He's like talking this fucking Russian. He probably was the guy that hits us when we play your fucking song. There we go. Let's get it out of the way early. So now, of course, me being me, when they're bringing this guy back, I put one of the winter hats on that has the I leave the wings, the flaps, and DWI goggles. So now I'm standing in there while they're processing this guy with this fucking shit. He's looking at me like, so now they put him in there. He's in the cell and he's fucking screaming. He's being a shithead. The wife comes to pick him up, John's Law. And he's in there still being loud. And they bring him out and he had a boatload of fucking money on him. And right before they even start, they start counting. He's short. Of course it's short. Of course it's short.
Yeah.
So and now you have Terry there again, black belt, jiu-jitsu muscle head, And the sergeant at the time, I forget how high up in the rank he went, was a college wrestler. So you have two guys very proficient, right? And so they're going back and forth. It's short. Now the wife hears the guy being a shithead in the lobby, and she's like, you know what? I don't want him. You keep him. Now she doesn't want to. Doesn't want to take him.
Now you're married to him for 12 hours.
So now they got to put him back in the cell. Now you want to talk about a shit in your pants moment, right? Terry gets this guy in a full Nelson, and he can't move him. Like he can't move him, and I'm like, wait a minute. If Terry and this guy can't move this guy, we're fucked. Like I'm running. I'm quitting this job right now. I immediately regretted my fucking winged hat and goggle taunting of this guy. I'm like, holy shit, dude! That was a wrestling. That was an unsettling scene to say the least. When you see somebody that strong, but dude, insane.
We call that retard strength, also known as tartation strength.
Yeah. Oh yes,
it's
orangutans.
Mm-hmm. John's Law, you made me laugh thinking of that. We, again, many moons ago, it was 98. I tried to stop a truck. The guy took off on me drunk, turned down a cul-de-sac, crashed, took off running. I get him. I'm chasing him down, walking him back to the car. My lieutenant shows up. Lieutenant was a great guy, meant well, heart of gold, but stage 5 tartation. And he could turn a simple first aid call into a stage 5 domestic or anything. He just turned it into a shit show. He arrives. I'm walking the guy back. This guy's talking shit the whole way. My lieutenant's like, why are you being disrespectful to this officer? Like, just relax. It's okay. He's like, so now the guy starts mouthing off on him. Now you're under arrest. I was like, Rick, he's already under arrest. Let's just get him to headquarters. Put him in the car, bring him back to headquarters. Whole time he's difficult. Get drugs on him, whole 9 yards. He keeps flipping out on my lieutenant. And my lieutenant just had it. So each time the guy says something stupid to him, he's like, now you're really under arrest.
There's a fake under arrest?
Well, apparently there's degrees of arrestation. So I get him in, ultimately we put him in the cell, and now it's time to make the phone call, the John's Law call. And I'm talking to him like, God, look, you're stuck with us for 12 hours unless you call someone to come pick you up. Just make the call, all right? He's like, all right, fine. So at the time, we had a cell phone. Not a cell phone, but a phone we'd bring into the cell, a corded phone. Hand it to him. We give him his privacy, walk up to dispatch, and we're watching on the camera to make sure he doesn't off himself, hang himself with the phone. We see he's on the phone. He's talking. I'm like, nice. He made a call. He's got someone coming. With that, the trunk line in headquarters rings. Our dispatcher answers the phone, confused. Remsen Police. He looks at us puzzled. He looks all confused and he says, it's county radio. He called 911 and said he's being held captive by an angry little elf and a big fucking retard. Lieutenant goes running back, opens the door. The guy goes, gotta go. Hangs up the phone. He yanks the phone out of the cell. I wish I could get the recording of that call because that was one of the greatest. When that went to court 8 months later, and the judge had to hear the playing of the 911 call. 911 to your emergency. I'm being held captive by an angry little elf. I was the angry little elf and a big fucking retard.
I can't see somebody describing you as an elf.
I was an angry little elf. Well, I wasn't. He thought I was angry. I was happy. I was like, you're under arrest. You've got the right to remain silent. Everything's fine. We'll have you out in 3 hours. Come on.
Yeah.
No,
I've heard that one before. That what you just said is as common as when the perps say I only had 1 or 2.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a great time. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. We'll have you out in an hour or 2. Oh God.
May I interject?
please.
You may.
I'll be very quick.
Go ahead.
We only have 21 cents in our budget today. And
Hold on, wait. 21 cents? Now we only have 15.
No, you played it twice. There's supposed to be a third. We've gone over that a million times.
Sorry.
But that might cost us 9 cents. So that's 14 cents that you spent. You have 1 la 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 left. Please use it wisely because after that, we're going to be in the hole. Right now, we're 7 cents in the black right now because every time you play that song, some dude in Kazakhstan or something with a stand gets 7 cents from us each time.
He's back.
Apparently, we're monetized, but I don't know where the money's going.
I'm going to make another
I think we
donation
make like
to
12
BBO.
cents a show. So if you play it twice, we're 2 cents in the hole. See that quick math? Divide by 2, add 4.
Yeah, carry
So
2 divided by 4.
please use the La 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 song very wisely. You have one left. I'm sorry to interrupt the show.
No, you're never.
But I have a
interrupting.
fiduciary responsibility because I'd like to
God.
maybe buy some blow pops and some other things for the green room for our guests.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
But I can't afford that when we're doing the La 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 song. Very like what's the word I want to say when you
liberally?
Yeah,
Often,
he's just
like,
like haphazardly. Like
Shut up!
Goodbye.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
He's doing his own sound bites.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Oh my God, this is gonna be so much fun. We haven't even gotten to any of it yet. This is just the intro. Oh my God, I remember working dispatch and making. We worked in a tight knit community where we had great communication with Little Silver, with Rumson, with the different dispatch in the area. And when we get to work, we'd be in contact with who was on the desk, so we'd be on the county hotline, so we could be in touch if there was a problem. But we also made it a point to try to have a challenge each night and see who could get the most lines off on the air during calls for service, whether it was sending guys to calls or in
Knock it off, North Bergen.
Knock it off, North Bergen, all the time. How great to this day! Knock it off.
It still goes
Bergen.
on. It still goes on. There was a period of time where it was for like a week straight. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, someone would meow at in 5-minute intervals for hours. You would just be hearing us, man. I was like, what is that person enduring? Where is that person's head? I mean, dude, what? People are insane. Yeah, so hypothetically, there may or may not be occasional Trump vote result montages played over spend. Hypothetically, I don't know what animal would be doing that, but maybe, I don't know.
I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
Spend county hotline,
Oh,
all the neighboring. And remember when you get that checkerboard acorn alert?
Mm-hmm.
It would come over, checkerboard acorn. You had to fill out the postcard, timestamp it, and put it in the mailbox. So many people don't even know what that means. Do they even do that anymore, do you think? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. We're old, bro.
Well, we're going to have my friend on in a second or two, who is more current than we are, much more tech savvy than we are. He's younger than we are, but he got.
Does he want to run a booth by any chance?
He may. And you know what? Actually, he would be great at this. He really would. He's coming to join BBO. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to explain to him he's joining because we need him here. I've known him since he was a teenager. He was born and raised on the mean streets of Rumson, just like me, in the hood of Rumson, the tough part. Started out as
Campy,
Fairhaven.
You were not raised in a hood.
I was. It's a rough neighborhood.
You were not.
It was. We could only get Perrier on Wednesdays. It was rough. It really was that bad. Bottled water was tough to come by. We struggled. The struggle was real. I'm telling you. Our Huffies never got stolen. Schwinn's never got stolen. But all the Cannondales taken.
Huffies. Those are the ones that had like the big, thick plastic spokes.
Yes, the yellow mag wheels. Remember that? Yeah.
All right.
My ADHD just kicked in, and I pictured racing that thing at the Dean Porter School and jumping off by the dumpsters in the back.
Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
That never gets old. I don't know why I love that one so much. But that's
You want me to bring Ryan on?
Yes, Ryan would love to come on. So Ryan, you there, handsome?
Good morning, sir.
How we doing?
Quite well. How you been?
Very happy Saturday to you. I haven't seen you in the longest time, but I hear from you, which is wonderful. It's great to see you again.
Wonderful.
Yes. I follow you extensively online and your comedy career, and I try to send you supportive text messages when I can, and.
Ryan, I apologize, Ryan, that you have to follow him.
I'm still paying off old debts from favors when he was on the job and I was a teenager. Are you kidding me? Please slap blinders on and let me on my way.
Outstanding.
We had fun.
Acorn still exists, Michael. Checkerboard
Does
Acorn
it?
Still exists. It's not a postcard anymore. It's I had to ask. I wasn't sure, but I'm getting the answer right now. It's a sheet and a mark in the book, and they send everything through OEM. So it goes through the county. The radio room gets the message and then sends it off to the county OEM.
No kidding. All right, so it's still that was remember what was called National Defense System, I think it was.
Yeah, checkerboard, Acorn, National Defense Notification. I forget what the acronym was, but they used to come over with the phone.
Yes.
Well, first, what would happen is the 10-digit phone would ring, and it would be the state police.
Yes.
And they'd say, "You're not answering."
Oh.
Right. So then you'd go over and you'd wake the guy up who was sitting at that desk, and you'd turn the volume up on the phone, and then you'd say, "This is Monmouth County. We're trying to answer you. Can you hear us now?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Yeah, we can hear you now, Monmouth." Received, Rock. This is Monmouth County. We just reset our transmitter.
Yeah. I wasn't sleeping.
We just reset our transmitter. Can you hear us now? And they'd be like, "Yeah, received loud and clear, 5x5 or whatever nerdy, wacky radio shit they'd come over with."
It was 5x5. What? 5x5 annoys me almost as much as my time is your time. No, let me explain something to you.
Oh, I'll get you. Not to interrupt, but I'll get you. The top of my list is be advised.
Oh, God.
Why do I have to preface you?
I'm going to advise you.
I'm like, Michael, I'm going to call you on the phone, right? And you answer the phone. Hey, it's Chip. What's up? Hey, listen, I'm going to let you know I'm just about to call you. Okay? And then I hang up.
Be advised.
And then I call it. What kind of stupid shit is that? What television show or movie did that imprint in all of our brains that as soon as we have to press that button, the RF goes into your brain and says you have to act like an idiot? How many guys?
Adam 12.
How many guys did you know? Right? Yeah, probably. But how many guys did you know that were on a job or dispatchers or whatever, and they could have a normal conversation with you, but as soon as that RF started going through their brain, it was like an immediate interference of all things logic. They press that button and just turn into bumbling idiots.
Sense and sensibility gone.
It's funny when you say the be advised. I actually work with a guy. I'll throw his name out there too, Mike Gervasio. He starts every radio transfer. Be advised. Be advised. What? Just spit it out. And now you call him. He'll use it on the phone. Now it's become. I actually, you know what? Proof of life. I wish I had known. I have a picture of him that I took in the locker room where he had fully dressed with his duty bag and is holding a shotgun, and it actually says "Be advised" under it because he uses it that much.
Yeah, that guy. Everybody's got at least one of those guys, and everybody's got the narrator. You know the narrator, right?
Oh my God, the guy you want to say, "Listen, the enemy is near. Maintain radio silence."
Hang on,
they just go off.
I'll go full prop on this one. I got a whacker radio. I'll go full prop. It's I'm arriving on the right side of the road. I'll be out with that motor vehicle accident that you told me about, but I'll re-describe the cars anyway. And here's the license plates that you already gave me. And the wind's blowing. I'm going to get out of the car now and switch to the other radio.
Yep, it's like Charlie Papa. Charlie Papa.
And meanwhile, you got the angry leprechaun across town going, "I'm in a gunfight! Shut the fuck up!"
Yeah, dude. If you don't have the repeater, like you can't talk over it, that's the worst. And you're just sitting there, like exactly like you said, you're literally banging your head on the steering wheel, like, bro, shut the fuck up. And dude, the guy, he insists on he talks on the handheld radio. He doesn't have the mic. And he always, no matter where, he turns the radio, like he puts his elbow up in the air and turns the radio upside down every time. And he clicks it up. He knows who he is. You know, Rhett, you know who you are. You know who you are. Right now, you're probably talking on a radio from the house. Shut up. Not that we're angry.
All of those characters, but the best is there's so many of them. And then there's the low talker. There's the guy who won't even take the microphone out of the cradle. There's like 10-9, I'm arriving. But you can only hear like, and you don't know if he's being possessed or if he's actually on scene or what.
Or the guy that screams with a disabled vehicle like he's being attacked. Everything sounds like what? And if somebody always has to pop their head in the dishwasher, like what did they just say? Like, no, sorry, it's a vehicle.
Get me additional. Yeah. Get me additional.
No, it would be you'd get the guy who'd be like, so County, and everybody starts standing up in their
Yep.
chairs, or
Yep.
like start undoing the retention on your holster or whatever your instinct is, and the guy goes, "I'll be out of service on my lunch." You're like,
Yep.
"God damn, dude, must be a pretty exciting lunch."
And, you know, it's so important. It actually goes on both sides of the radio, but even from the patrol side, if you're a dispatcher, you know, I always used to stress this to guys: have the same cadence, have the same tone, whatever it is that you're going to do, have that same tone. Because if I'm on the other side of the radio, I will know immediately when something's wrong. I'll know when you're seeing something that you're unsettled. I'll hear it immediately. You know, and it's why it's so important for guys. And it goes both ways. Same thing with dispatching. More so, you want to have a calm tone, because if a cop is in something that they're stressed out, a high stress situation, you want to be level. You want to try to, you know, the same thing we do with perps. Like, you want to try to bring their adrenaline down. So it's very important to have that you could still find them online if you listen to the central dispatch from 9/11.
Oh,
like I mean, obviously were crushed, but they were level tone
the whole time,
doing the best they can to just say, okay, this unit's here, this unit's here, this, okay, we need this, we need that, we need that. Okay, so we got this coming here, we got that. Like, they were just level tone, doing the best they could under the circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, cops on the other hand were
screaming.
Yeah.
Screaming.
Yeah.
Screaming. That's amazing. You know what? And that's so cool, because when you're working in the radio room or you're in your dispatch, you go from 1 minute getting a call saying, "Hi, I'm parking my car on the street overnight. I don't want to get a ticket. This is the license plate," to the next saying exactly that. "My baby's not breathing. My baby's blue. What do I do?" You go from 0 to 60 that quick, and there's no debriefing. Nowadays, I think there are probably, Brian. Like I think nowadays they do.
It's gotten a lot better. You even see it for things after, like, Sandy. Think about just the emotional trauma that the dispatchers had to deal with during Sandy, dealing with, you know, not just the radio communications, but all these poor people that are literally underwater just calling for help and losing their entire lives. And you get that secondary trauma on the phone. So they did do some actual debrief after Sandy with Monmouth County, and I'll commend the sheriff for that. He stepped up and brought in some outside people to debrief everybody. But yeah, back in the day though, it was, you'd answer a phone and the next phone would ring, and like you said, it was either I'm parking my car on the street tonight or my baby's not breathing, and you had to bring to it the same level of attention and professionalism that you would if it was your car or your baby.
Now, training wise, when again, many moons ago, 30 years ago, we sat with a dispatcher for a couple hours. We sat with the patrol guy for a couple hours, and we learned how to operate the radio and the phones and stuff. But 911 operators now go through so much more extensive training, from like having the Bible in front of them to learn to explain how to do CPR to someone who's never performed CPR before. You know, learning to describe what a car looks like, to ask the probing questions to make sure the person gives enough details. What kind of training still goes into that, or what kind of training has evolved from that today, do you think?
So let me back up just a touch for the sake of your viewers, because you know who the hell I am.
Yeah.
I don't read a book until I read about the author first, because I don't really give a shit unless I care about your opinion. So let me start by saying I've been out of the dispatch game for a while now. I've been off the job for a little while now. So in reverse chronological order, I was a patrolman, worked mostly night shift in Neptune Township. Before that, I was a dispatcher for Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Did that for almost a decade as a 911 operator. I did do quite a bit of the training towards the end. And my first dispatch job, as similar to you, was in Fairhaven, part-time as a Saturday dispatcher. Like you said, you sat with somebody who taught you which button to press. And I'll name drop Billy Heath, was one of the best instructors I had.
1323 Heater. He was my trainer as well. Good man.
Right. I remember he told me, I don't expect you, and I've applied this to everything in my entire life. and I've told him this subsequently. He told me, you don't have to learn everything. I don't expect you to know everything. I just expect you to know where to find the answer.
100%.
I was like, the job's that easy? I can do that. You're gonna give me a book with all the answers and tell me I just need to know where to go to find the answers? This is cheating. But really, really, really good dude. So to answer your question, Michael, about the training is second to none, at least locally here in Monmouth County. When I left, it was, and as far as I know, they're still pumping out some of the greatest dispatchers that I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
They are.
They're fantastic. And you talk about your lifeline. You make one phone call. You give them the problem, and they'll get back to you with a solution.
They got it.
So the training it's a lot more in depth. It's a lot more involved than it used to be just slapping a headset on a guy, right? When I started, and this was in 2004, when I started as a dispatcher, they stuck us at Thompson Park, a county facility off-site for a couple of weeks, and we did classroom training. We did, learning all about NCIC, learning about all the policies, procedures, learning about your motor vehicle code, your criminal code, and then doing mock radio calls and things like that. And this was in 2004. So you can imagine how much it's advanced since. Before I left, we were doing a lot of classroom training, a lot of hands-on training, and a lot of continuing education too, because new technologies would come out, things would change. We'd have to change how we did whatever it was. It was a lot of fun, but it was very serious. And I don't think that dispatchers get enough recognition in the first responder category.
Amen.
Right? I think that was your point earlier, is they're the first. Before the line that I use for first responders, when you talk about cops, firemen, whoever the traditional first responders is, well, they have to do the responding part. So you're a civilian in an emergency, you call first responders, they still have to do the responding part of getting there. You're on your own, and you have only the benefit of a calm voice that can hopefully give you some guidance or advice.
It's so funny you say that, because I can think of so many times, whether it was on the road in Rumson, Red Bank, Ferry, wherever it was, calling for help and just hearing the response, knowing they acknowledged you, was a relief. So you're calling for medics, you're calling for a tow truck, you're calling for fire, whatever it was. Hearing the response, the acknowledgement that someone else on the other end heard this, and now I have to figure out what the fuck I'm doing here. I got to go in and unfuck the unfucking what's happening here. But someone on the other end is going to get me some help, because I need help. I don't know what the fuck I'm walking into, but this looks like a shit show. Buckle up, Buttercups, could be a hell of a ride. But on the other end, you hear 10-4 en route. Yeah. That's it. 10-4 en route. Like that right there means the cavalry's coming, I have help coming, and I need help.
Or how about when you're elbow deep in whatever you're dealing with, and the dispatcher comes over and tells you they already did something that you should have already asked for but forgot.
Right.
Yeah, we got a busting route. We got a wrecker route.
Right.
We got something that already do it. Yeah,
right.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I already checked weather conditions, and helicopter can't fly today.
Right.
I was always big in going into the master name index, and I would look up firearms records. So if we were sending guys to houses where they were domestics, I would just give them the heads up. Hey, listen, there's no weapons. No weapons haven't been mentioned, but just so you know, there are 3 firearms registered at that residence. Giving guys just a heads up before, like, that kind of proactive stuff.
Huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. And you hear when you start your shift, when you call in and you hear the voice on the other end of the radio, and it's a familiar voice. It's a voice in a good way or a bad way.
I was just gonna say it could be good or bad.
By the answer 13146, I'm in service, and then you hear that 10-4.
10-4 morning, Campy. Like
hearing that, it's like, I got a good day. This is gonna be a good shift. Or
I got the opposite.
Yeah.
I know people went home sick when they heard me calling service.
I actually had somebody that could not pronounce my last name. Obviously, I can't say it and joke
right.
around now, but she absolutely could not pronounce my last name. And then we use 8 codes. So I had put myself in different facilities. Some use them, some use plain speak. So I had come from a command that used the 8 codes religiously and went to a command that did plain speak. So I would purposely use the 8 codes just to fuck her up because she wouldn't know. So 870 Golf is getting gas, right? So I put myself 870 Golf and she sent me a backup. I had her all fuck up. I was like, somebody go back him up and relax. I'm just getting gas.
Well, isn't that the actual reason why we're supposed to, or the common what we're supposed to do is plain speak and get away from the code?
Because especially when you're doing, you have a multi-jurisdictional event, we all use different stuff. You have to use plain speak. I mean, what are we doing now? I mean, are we really worried about what people are hearing on the radio or whatever at this point? I mean, I'm pretty sure Russia's not spying on my my dispatching lines, and if they are, hold on, let me get something for them there. I'll make them some money.
Ryan, that's my favorite song ever, by the way.
And you're one of my favorite people, by the way.
But with the training, what Ryan was saying, it actually, because when I had dispatched for the state police, they would go to Seeger and do classroom training. Like they really prepped you. Yeah, Seeger. They would send you down there. They have a classroom. It was, if you're standing in front of the barracks and you're looking across, it was on that side, almost like on that warehouse garage side. There was a building there. I don't know where they do the training now, but it was weeks of classroom stuff, similar to what Ryan was saying, where you're learning about all the 2C and the Title 39 and NCIC and all that stuff. Very advanced training, different than White Golf, which was like you sit there. This is the button you push. This is how you set off this is how you tone out the fire department. This is how you, that's it. And go with God.
Yeah. But you also get taught things that like cops never got taught. How many times did you come over radio Parking Adjudication Act?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, Parking Offenses Adjudication Act. Yep.
Go find some young patrolman and ask him to explain to you what the Parking Adjudication Act is.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I don't know. That's just the reason why they're suspended.
They're 340. That's all I know. 3:40.
Right.
That's all I need.
And then they walk back up to the car and like, your license is suspended for what? Parking tickets.
Yeah. No, the dispatcher says so. That's all. I'm not even explaining you what a Parking Adjudication Act is. Yeah.
And it is funny too, because 100%. I'll like when I would call our central desk now, I can walk them through the old, because I guess NCIC 2000, the system doesn't operate the same as the systems that we had. So like, I can walk them through them like, listen, I need you to go into the DH page. I need you to go into the DH. I need you to do a raw search because I think I know who this guy is. So I'm going to give you what I think his name is. And I need you to scroll through the names and see if you could find one that matches with a similar. And like, they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, listen, just follow me here. The GMS 0. Here we go.
Hear me out.
GMS 0.
I'm gonna walk you through this. Like
I was really good at finding the people that didn't want to be found too. Because
Yes.
how many times you have some idiot lie to you, but they're never that creative. They lie.
Right.
They lie their exact birthday off by like a year.
Yes. Yep.
They give you
100%.
their middle name and their last name, but the birthday's still exactly right by the day and the month, but 1 year off.
Right.
And I do have a couple of guys now currently that I work with that they're cops, but they are our central desk are police officers now. I have a couple of them that are that way that are very good. They will find the unfindable. They'll get them. They'll be like, hey, try this one on them. And you walk up there and be like, hey, when you lived in the Bronx, you were only there for what, 2 years, 3 years? Oh yeah, no, I was only there about a year. I'm like, all right, get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love tripping people up like that. That was it was only second best to actually getting into a foot pursuit and chasing somebody down, which I still contend is one of the absolute greatest feelings in the world. What's that commercial? I think it's the lottery commercial or something. The greatest feeling in the world is winning. I think the greatest feeling in the world is running down another man who is trying to get away from you with everything in his absolute power, and you run him down and video game teabag him on the side of the road. It's just one of the absolute greatest feelings in the world. And then you get on and you're just like, he's in custody. After calling out, oh man, that's just
it is. So that's how I actually met Bill Legg, STFA VP. I had
He ran from you?
What's that?
He ran from you?
No, I know. I would catch him. He's fat. No, I'm just kidding, Bill. No, I had a you're 100% right. What an adrenaline rush. It was I chased a car 12 miles down Bay Extension all the way to Fabian Avenue. And when the guy went through toll 14, he actually clipped the toll plaza. So he blew out the back tire. This guy could drive. He was driving an Audi A8. And he's still from the toll plaza. He made it all the way to Fabian Avenue on 3 wheels. Then when he went to get off of the exit, he couldn't turn because so he ended up wrecking and got out and ran. Now, Bill and his partner at the time, that's when state police were supplementing patrol in Irvington. So they were coming down Fabian Avenue, I guess, dumps right onto 78 westbound. So they were listening to the pursuit on Spen, and they were just going to fall in behind me had we kept going straight. So what a great feeling. You talk about, when the cavalry's coming, what a great feeling that was when because the guy jumps out. So now I'm chasing him up. Now I'm in my head thinking this is going to be like training day. Like this guy called ahead to his boys. He's running me to their house. I'm going to end up upside down in the bathtub with a shotgun in my fucking mouth. This is what's going through my head. I come around the corner up the hill there, and you see the state police are coming down, and you see their doors open up, and they come out. And so the guy ditches behind the house. We get him at gunpoint, and he comes back out, and then he just saw the 3 of us. So he tactically fell. You know what I mean? He just fell to the ground, slid. But Ryan's so right. Like that's such a great feeling. The hunting of man is such a great feeling.
It is. And you know what's funny? I laugh about it because with foot pursuits, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and who's going to win? Who's more prepared? Go ahead.
My brother-in-law says the Hamilton is where the state police they train.
That's where they train now.
Yeah.
That complex is amazing, by the way. That's where I went to crime scene school, and they have their lab. They have everything there. Oh, all right. So they probably have Hamilton, Woodbridge, and what are the other? Or they have multiple complexes for
they have multiple spots, but they do their training now in Hamilton. Yeah,
that's a great complex. That's really cool.
Troopers don't want civilians at Seeger. We talked about this already. Troopers do not.
They don't like civilians.
Little known secret: troopers do not like civilians. They just like hats. They like their hats. They're very big hats. They're very big.
In all fairness, do troopers like non-troopers?
That's a very good point. I always, to draw the parallels, troopers are the Marines of law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? Like
perfect.
Marines, there's the Marines and there's everybody else.
Yeah.
There's troopers and there's everybody else. Oh, how are you, officer? Trooper.
So, what's the most annoying calls you had, or what are the most annoying requests from patrols even that you would get? Thinking about
you know what it would be? It would mine would be guy come over. I'd be on a desk. Guy come over to radio and ask for a wrecker. Okay. You'd look up who it was. You have to find it. Okay, you get him on the phone.
A&L towing 3 locations.
Yeah.
I'm still trapped on the turnpike, bro. It's in my brain.
Hey Jimmy, I need you to come out to Westlake and Myrtle for a crash. It's an Audi and the front end's totaled. Okay, hang up. And then the guy come back over to radio and say, "Hey, can you have the tow truck come in from the east because the road's blocked?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, okay, no problem." And then you call the tow truck back, and you hang up. And then a little while later, there'd be some other instruction for the tow truck, and you'd have to call the guy back. But the whole time it would just be like, as soon as you'd hang up, the guy would tell you, "No, have the tow truck come in this way. Oh, have the tow truck." So it was always like, just give us the information all at once.
Like, bro, spit it out. Yeah, spit it out all at once, bro. Get it out of your system.
Tell me all of it. Or another thing that used to rub me was you send a guy somewhere, and he'd get on the radio and say, "Can you have the caller step outside?"
I swore he was going to say a female dispatcher, but never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm trying to keep this on the up and up. I'm trying to keep this on the up and up. All right.
We'll get to the pension fair, the pension thieves.
Oh God, we're gonna delve down the dispatchers, nurses, and teachers rabbit hole.
Oh boy.
Can you have the caller step outside, right? And you'd be like, all right. And then you'd find the phone number and you'd call and they wouldn't answer. And then you get back on the radio and you'd say, 1, 2, 3, the caller's not answering. And they say, yeah, I'm talking with him now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll go fuck myself. Don't worry about it.
But prepare to copy a phone number.
Well,
Right?
that
Write it
right
down.
there. Yeah.
And then
10,
it-
11. 10,
Call-
11
call-
a number.
Call that phone number and ask them this or that or this or that. Like this is 1940
Right.
and you don't have a fucking cell phone with you, you lazy fucking do nothing. Like how lazy do you have to be to have another human being make phone calls for you via a radio?
That when guys would call and say, hey, call New Jersey manufacturers and verify this insurance. I'm pretty sure it's not valid, but can you do that for me?
Right.
And you have a dispatch phone in your car. Like you could have called from the OIC phone, or you could have called for your own phone, or just write them and then figure it out when it comes to court. Like what are you looking to verify? They're not going to give you shit over the phone. They're going to give you the basics. And now you're making this radio operator who could be answering other shit call New Jersey manufacturers to find out the status.
On top of the fact, like it can get insanely hectic. Like my brother-in-law can vouch. Like when for the first 6 months with the state police, I was dispatching out of Totowa, and when TAC Pack is out there, those guys, they are insane. They don't give a fuck about what radio traffic you got going on. It on to stop moving, on to stop moving, on to stop moving. They're just calling shit out, stepping on each other, calling out stops, and you're moving like and there you have the two, you have a ACOM and a BCOM, so two guys will be working the one radio. And again, shout his name out, Timmy Castleton. I think he went to Edison Fire, I believe, from dispatching. Me and him had to sit together because we were equally as fast. Like when he had to get up and take a break, I had to take a break. I can't because I couldn't keep up. We would have 3 CADs open trying to keep up with these fucking troopers. So yeah, like you're saying, you give me a nonsense request. No, I have no time to make that call. Go fuck yourself. I cannot do it. You hear what's going on the radio. These fucking troopers are insane. They don't give a shit about nothing. No, call yourself.
Or asking the dispatcher to call the utility company that the resident should be doing.
Oh my God!
They got their cable line. Their cable line is down. Can you call Comcast and because I got nothing better to do? Because I even have their account number. And no. Sorry.
Yeah, Ronnie says, get me an ROR from Newark PD.
Yeah, sure.
Good luck. You'd be lucky if Newark even answers the phone.
I was going to say that. Forget the ROR. Find a phone number that gets answered.
Right. Yeah. Verify this warrant. Can you confirm this?
What? Who?
Oh man,
Goodbye.
confirming warrants. If it's in there, it's good.
Oh, dude, it's the work. I got another challenge for you. Anybody out there, try getting Irvington. Dear Irvington, please come pick up your fucking perps. You cannot get Irvington. They will not. I mean, listen, and I understand why. I mean, I get it. I mean, Irvington is not exactly. Yeah, they're a little busy. I get it. Okay, well, if you don't want people, don't put the warrants in the fucking system. That's A. And then B, when you call them, you're like, they're like, can you bring them to us? No, I'm not driving into Irvington. Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm not driving into Irvington with lights on top of my car. No, I'm not. Wrong. And they're like, well, you got to come pick them up. They're like, no, we're not going to come pick them up. And I'm like, okay, well, then send us an ROR. No, we can't. Our court clerk can only do that. Well, when is it? They're not back into the morning. So you think I'm sitting on this fucking till the morning? Nah. I said, guess what? We're on a tape line. You're telling me you're not going to come get them. We're not delivering them. I'm letting them go. Goodbye. They are now ROR'd officially.
That's because New Jersey has such an antiquated criminal justice system. My curiosity has always been, how do you have an administrative office of the courts, AOC? They run all the courts in for the state, right? All the courts are supposed to be the same. I've never been in 2 courts that operated the same way ever.
No.
They're all this one, it has to be the court clerk that signs it, and this one, it doesn't matter, and It was so wild. And then, like you said, you'd have to go through the PDs in off hours to deal with the courts, and they didn't know what to say.
My brother-in-law says he has a number that goes through to Newark, and every time he calls it, they're like, "How did you get this number?" So he must have one. He has one of the secret ones. He doesn't have the 1-800 one. He's got
what they hear when he calls? On the other end, they hear, "Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne."
I gotta send Ronnie that sound clip.
I love that there were certain days of the week where you knew what you were walking into because of the day of the week it was, or the time of the year. You know, in the summer, you knew Friday through Sunday was going to be a soup sandwich because of the Jersey Shore. Everyone coming down to Belmore. Everyone coming down from Staten Island, Strong Island. And you had all
Strong Island.
Yeah, Strong Island, all the shit shows. But there were certain days of the week where you knew it was just going to be dead. There was nothing. There was nothing exciting happening. It was a Wednesday in the middle of December, and no one was doing anything except without Christmas shopping. But then all of a sudden, the wheels came off the bus, and it went from being 0 to 60 in no time at all. Those were some of my favorites. What were the days of the week that you thought were either the most exciting, that you knew you were in for it, or the days of the week that were a soup sandwich?
Ones that end in Y.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it could have been a Saturday in July or a Tuesday in February. There was no like anticipating what you were going to get into. The only thing that I would say we had different in seasons would be the traffic in the summer increased. But as far as all the crime stuff, like I've done tracks in a blizzard before.
Right.
You know, like these criminals don't care about the time, the day, the week. They don't have to get up early to go to their jobs.
Right.
So they don't give a shit about.
They got banker's hours. They're good.
Or they care about like jurisdictional boundaries. Are you kidding me? That they don't care. Jurisdictional boundaries was whichever police agency got there first was able to say it was the other guys.
Or especially if it's an MVA, they get there first and just push it right. But get a push bumper like, no, it's your side of the street. Your side of the street, Mo.
We had the regional trauma center that was in our jurisdiction. So any walk-in shooting, stabbing, they dump on us. So we'd have to go over there. And I used to teach my guys religiously. I'd say, listen, if you ever get dispatched to the hospital for a walk-in shooting, you walk right up to that motherfucker. And the first thing you ask him is, sir, where in Asbury Park did this occur?
Yes.
Yeah. Backwards questioning. You have to get them. Yeah.
The only question
Start the
I
question
need
with an
right
answer.
now, sir.
Start the
you
question with
tell
an
me
answer.
where in Asbury Park this occurred? No, it happened on Heck Avenue. No, it did not.
Wrong.
You'd have guys out scouring for shell casings, just like, oh man, I hope it's on their side. I hope it's on their side. I hope it's on their side.
And the shell casing sometimes got kicked across the other side of.
I used to carry a couple of shell casings in my pocket when we got sent to, if we got sent to like a fireworks call or something, I'd throw them on the ground and then call one of the new guys over. Be like, come meet me over here. I'd be like, yeah, this is a scene now. You're gonna have to write this. Get them all amped up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't.
Oh my God, I love that. I cry. Now, some of the worst calls you had, some of the worst 911
We'll do this
calls
before you transition into that. Why don't you take 5 minutes?
Oh yeah.
Give yourself a 5-minute break. You've been running for an hour. Ryan, you're gonna stick around?
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right, beautiful. All right, hang out. Give yourself 5 minutes.
Break, get a refill.
Yeah, 100%. There you go. Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Winning.
(911) Specialties. Special gifts for special professions. We are the originators of the QR Family Member Gold Card. We also custom manufacture police specialty items such as blue line flags with your name, coffee mugs, plaques, window shields, shield holders, cigar carriers, and hip flasks. Check out our website at 911specialties.store or come and visit us in person at 188 High Street, Nutley, New Jersey.
Fetty Ford, 1137 U.S. Route 46, Clifton, New Jersey. 973-779-7000. Check them out on the web at fettyfordsales.com.
Visit www.proudpig.blue. Dirty by design. Because if you're not patrolling with the pig, you're doing it wrong. Check out all of our new swine swag, and as always, thank you for your pig patronage.
Gara's Pizza, 200 Strikers Road, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. 908-454-9272. Home of the famous Upside Down Sicilian. Rated 8.7 by Mike the Cop. One bite, it's the law. Head down to Gara's, grab a slice, and let us know what you think. Tell them the Blue Podcast Network sent you.
Line of Duty Cigars proudly donates cigars to our servicemen and women stationed abroad. Check out all their cigars and products at www.lineofdutycigars.com.
Mama Shug's freeze-dried candy. Find them on the web at mamashuggsfreezedriedcandy.com. What is freeze-dried candy? Glad you asked. Freeze-dried candy, as the name suggests, undergoes a process where it's frozen and all moisture is removed, leaving behind pure sugar crystals. This technique intensifies the flavor and transforms previously gummy or chewy treats into light, airy, and crunchy delights. Whatever you do, don't sleep on the Charleston Chew. It is delicious.
The Sun Tavern of Roselle Park, New Jersey, where the Blue Line goes to dine. Come in for our delicious pizza, cold beer, awesome mixed drinks, and Mike the Cop's favorite, the hanging pretzel.
Dubs on 5th, 402 5th Street, West Easton, PA. Family-friendly pub offering American eats and casual digs. Sporting kids games and high-definition TVs for all your sporting needs. Happy hour specials, clam and wing night deals, and live music are also on the menu. Dubs on 5th, 402 5th Street, West Easton, PA.
All right, guys and gals, ladies and gents, we are back, making it rain in this club. Let's get it done. We're back with Ryan. We got Mo. Real quick, if anyone wants to call in with any 911 stories, either as a
911, what city?
911, what's your city? 911, what's your malfunction? 911, what the fuck is wrong with you? If anyone wants to call in with any 911 stories, either as a caller, an operator, a dispatcher, or as a guy or girl on the other end of the line who was using 911 while on the road, you can call in by 908-926-4010. The number is 908-926-4010. Please do not call in on the device you're watching from. I repeat, please do not call in on the device you're watching from.
Be advised.
Be advised.
Be advised.
Be advised.
Be advised. Do not call. Yeah, that is the old terrestrial radio thing. Like when people would call in and they'd have their radio blasting in the background and try to hear themselves. If somebody's watching the stream on their phone and they call from that phone, they will cancel each other out and it'll sound.
You'll lose it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like crossing the streams.
Yes.
You never. You
don't cross the streams.
You
Ryan.
never rub dicks. I mean, crossing the streams. You never do that.
Thank God this is virtual.
Kid show.
You guys aren't wearing pants either, right?
No, not at all. Very family friendly here. Yeah.
Wait, we're supposed to wear pants?
Thongs. That's as good as it gets with us. So, all right. So as we left off, we were going to start talking about some of the worst calls, some of the worst 911 calls you got, either on the line, calls from guys or girls on the road, or calls from civilians. What are some of the worst calls that you got that you remember that to this day you think about, you dream about, you remember, and you feel it? Brian, go first.
I can't say there are specific calls that resonate, live with me. Anything involving a kid, was obviously gloves off, forget the rules, do whatever it takes. Those were always tough. I've gotten commendations for doing CPR on a phone for kids successfully. So, when they call up and you could tell, first, as a parent yourself and somebody who's very worldly, been around, you can know that first-time parents are very identifiable.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So you see a first-time parent and little Johnny falls on the playground, and the first-time parent is like, that helicopter parent on top of them, and
yeah.
Okay. And every other seasoned parent goes, oh, I know what that looks like. You don't judge them because you were once there yourself, right? Okay. So now take that kind of situation, put it into a 911 call. So the only thing you have are your words, right? In an actual emergency, when you're there, you can physically insert
yourself.
Yep. Hands on.
Yep.
Well, as a 911 operator, a dispatcher, whatever title they have, you don't have that luxury. You have to use your words to affect your goal. And if you can imagine how sternly you need to see a parent.
Listen to my voice.
Hear me.
Yes.
Right? Listen, there is time for us to have feelings and emotions later. Right now, I need you to do exactly what I'm telling you to do. I need you to. Boom, boom, boom. And it's almost like.
Spot on.
It's almost like trying to tell them, look, I understand the totality of the circumstances here, and I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm very good at my job. And if you just do what I tell you, we're going to be okay. But you don't have the time to explain that to them because the kid's not breathing. So,
I want your child to start breathing. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's circle back to those childhood memories another time, like how many times you do an EMS call or something, you walk in at 3:00 in the morning and you go, what's going on? And they say, well, in 1974, I was diagnosed with asthma.
Right.
Now you almost sound like Campy when he opened the show. On today's date in 1836,
Jesus Christ,
Robin Hood did what?
Yes, that happens all. But so anyway, so my point, I don't really have that specific call thing. I can just tell you, and this transcended into the job too, because once you were on the road and you got a call involving a kid, I carjacked an ambulance once, literally ran an ambulance off the road with a patrol car and was like, "You're with me now because there's a baby not breathing right here." They just happened to be driving through town. But yeah, 911 calls were tough when it involved kids because you're trying to have that level of empathy while trying to do something that's super time sensitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, kids, fuck you up.
Yeah, anything with kids. Yeah, definitely. We had it wasn't even really so much the call as just the whole scene and seeing the troopers' actual reaction to it. They had it was an accident on a turnpike where an entire family was wiped out.
Ugh.
Husband, wife, and 2 kids. It was a crash, turned into a car fire, and to see the troopers come back from that, and you could still smell the smoke on their uniforms. And then, as it turned out, the parents of one, I believe it was the wife, they were traveling together, so they were stuck in the traffic behind the accident because they had the road closed. So they ended up having to literally do a death notification to the parents who just the whole family's wiped out ahead of them. They don't even know that they're trapped in that. The traffic is their family being wiped out is the cause of the traffic. Yeah, that was a tough one just to witness. You know what I mean? So it wasn't so much because there really wasn't much on the phone. So from a dispatching standpoint, there really wasn't any. But to see that firsthand, again, you see
It's crazy.
troopers, same thing. Cops we're all the same. Like, you know, with sick sense of humors and all that. Very little would phase us, at least to each other. You know what we do in our own time. But these guys were visibly
Upset.
shaken. Yeah, visibly shaken. You know, and then I was telling you earlier before the show, I mean, on 9/11, I had finished that morning. I was doing the midnights. I finished that morning and went home. But when I had gone back in, for most people that don't understand, when you dial 911 from your cell phone, especially from the highways, a lot of times it goes to state police answering points, and then they bounce it around. So our guys that were dispatching that morning were getting a lot of the cellular 911s from the towers. And what was starting as, hey, this is my name, this is the floor I'm on, this is the office I'm in, you know, we have 5 people here, send us help. And they were writing that down, right? Every single one, and giving it to the sergeant, because I always had a trooper sergeant that oversaw the dispatch area. And then they turned from that into dying declarations. And like I said, when I came in, they had stacks of these, you know, this is my name, this is my wife's name, my husband's name, call them, tell them this, you know, and a lot of guys quit after that. I mean, that fucked them up, man. My brother-in-law just said in there, they need to have better mental health options for dispatchers, like debriefs after traumatic incidents.
100%.
You know, and I'm sure, I don't remember offhand what they did for those guys. I'm sure they did something, you know, to try. But again, I can't, you know, same thing. Like, I wasn't there to field those calls. I had come in after, and by the time I had gone back in earlier. But everything, the chaos had settled, and now it was just, you know, the horror that followed. But we weren't getting flooded with calls or anything like that. So, but those guys that worked that morning, I mean, that was rough.
I can't imagine those calls. I can't even begin to imagine.
Tough.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, like, people that are literally burning alive. You know, they're cooking and they're saying, yeah, I know I'm going to die. You know, please tell my wife this. You know, here's her phone number. Please tell my kids this. Like, you know, how do you process that?
You know,
gallows humor.
Yeah,
Ryan, it's so funny. We laugh about that every time we do the show because that's what helps us cope. It's a coping mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. It's inappropriate, but it gets us through. And we've laughed through the worst of scenarios, the worst of scenes, the worst of things. Demented, but at the same time, it's our crutch. It's
has to be. Me and Eddie Gray, the guy that just retired, we had to sit with a dead body for hours waiting on the ME to show up. We ordered pizza. We ordered pizza, and Emmy showed up. We're eating pizza and having cigars. And Emmy's like, "Are you guys like? What do you want us to do? We were hungry. Like,
We've been here forever. Where have you been?
Yeah, 100%. But that's, I mean, you have to. How do you cope with something that's not normal? You have to be normal.
Normal people do not behave that way. We are not normal people.
Correct.
It's just.
And
wait, Campy's not normal? Stop it.
Could you imagine having an average person sitting and taking 911 calls? Even just the original call taker. I would love, like in traffic court, when people get fined, instead of giving them fines, make them do 4 hours of just answering phone calls. Especially the Karens, listening to the Karen phone calls, the stupid phone calls, the requests.
There's a raccoon walking in circles in my driveway. Are they supposed to be out in the daytime?
Well, but you'll remember the first thing that they'd say is, well, this isn't really an emergency, but.
Yep. It's almost like, oh, I don't want to start any trouble, but, well, if it wasn't really an emergency, then what the fuck are you calling me for?
Why are you calling me? And then
I don't want the neighbor to know it was me, right?
There used to be a street phrase for seizures called "fell out." You ever get that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fell out.
Yeah.
Or you caught a seizure. How do you catch a seizure?
911. Where's the emergency? Hey, yo, I'm over here, and this guy, he just fell out. And you go, fell out of what, sir? Fell out of what, sir? Nah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. He fell out. Yeah, I hear you. What did he fall out of? Meanwhile, you'd actually already started to send the ambulance. Let me
put the discllaimer in there.
Yeah, disclaimer that you do the job properly.
For before PETA gets their panties in a bunch. We were sending the ambulance already. Calm down.
Yes.
But please tell me what he fell out of. I'm curious, and you're not getting that.
And it was only an inside joke for us. Like they didn't know what it was. You'd already have it in the computer or wherever, seizures and send medics and the whole routine. But fell out of what, sir?
My other favorite was I intentionally mispronounced it when I would get to a call, but I think the proper enunciation was "wildin' out." And I would say,
wilding out. Yo, he's wilding out.
Yeah.
Yo, you better get down here. This motherfucker wilding out.
Yes. And I would show up and I'd say, has anyone here been wilding out? I'm very confused. I was sent here because someone was wilding out. And they'd look at me with such anger and just disgust, because why is he saying it that way? Why is he not?
I'm gonna ask you guys something. Is anybody wilding out down here?
Yeah, I would do the same thing, but you can imagine I was Casper, the friendly white cop in a not so white area, so they'd be extra offended.
Unlike the angry troll that apparently Campy was.
Yeah. I don't know what. There's some commonalities there. I don't know.
My brother-in-law says people also catch a flat. I caught a flat.
How
do you catch a flat?
I guess another good one.
Where do these phrases come from?
Do you remember working a couple shifts, getting off, going home, crashing? And now, again, this is going back to the day of landline phones before we had cell phones. You'd be sleeping. You'd finally get into a good sleep. The phone would ring at home, and you'd grab it, and you'd be like, Farrington Police 146.
I've actually had the opposite. Hypothetically, again, I worked midnights, so sometimes I get deep in prayer, about 2:00 in the morning, and then you're sitting there while you're deep in prayer,
right?
And you'll hear the radio key up in your headset, and you're like, "Wait a minute, did somebody call me?" And then you have to sit there for a second. You sit up, and you're like, "All right, where am I? Oh shit, I'm at work." And then you just key up. You're like, "Go ahead." Because you don't even know if you don't want to say the unit because he didn't hear the unit, so you're just like, all right, maybe somebody called. Go ahead. And then he just goes, I'm like, oh, I guess I did hear something then. Again, because I was in prayer. I wasn't sleeping. I was in prayer.
Right. And I'd be the guy who'd take the phone call from the sergeant on the road who'd be like, hey, how come we're not getting answered? And come over and kick your chair. And then I'd do the whole, we reset the transmitter routine. And
sorry, I was just getting my evening prayer in. You know what I mean? Lord Jesus, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, St. Michael. Please get me a full-time cop job and off of this desk.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God, yes. But I mean, honestly, I really though, I loved it. I really did love it, and it did serve as such a foundation for working street side. Like it was. If you used your time wisely as a dispatcher, you could you had a leg up on people that whose first job was their allowance. And then they came right on to you because again, you were in that culture, you were raised in that culture, you had that leg up, you understood the process. We used to have Andy Paremba, a Wyckoff cop. He used to look every time a new academy class would come out, and he'd sit there and he'd stare at them when they were going upstairs to get sworn in. And all, he's like, "Look at these kids. They actually think this shit is for real." He goes, "All this job is knowing what you're wearing to work every fucking day." I mean, accurate,
very, very.
And the best part about it is we're so dumb that we have to be told what to wear every day. Hence,
that is a fact. Hence,
uniform of the day. So this job is not that. It's not a rocket science job. It is really just what you have to wear today, and you get the luxury of being told what to wear every day.
Yeah, honestly, if I wasn't told, I'd just be standing in front of my locker. What am I gonna do? Wait, where does keepers? What are those?
That is great.
I can picture you looking like Biden on the stage, like
yeah, exactly. Where does this go?
What do I wear? Oh, collar brass? Do I wear this?
Oh. Now, can you picture any of your kids doing this job? Or do you want to picture that?
No. I mean, first of all, the current state of policing in this world right now is not anything that I encourage anybody young to look at the moment. I don't.
Correct.
I think that we're a couple generations into going to have some pretty wonky. You're already seeing it. I mean, how many of these young cops? I've never heard of so many young cops getting jammed up these days.
They're horrible,
right?
They're horrible.
Not just horrible in that they don't know how to do the job. Horrible in that they shouldn't have even been interviewed for the job, let alone hired. Yes. And now you got these mopes out there representing, doing criminal shit.
And this is, oh God, yeah, he's gonna get me fired up.
All right,
Ryan, we're gonna hold on, Ryan. Let me get rid of Campy here for a second. All right, there we go. Right, because now we're.
You're take a break. The men are going to talk for a little bit.
You hit a button for me. The standards have dropped so low.
Yep.
I mean, I had to submit copies of my credit report. I had to go the home visits, all this stuff. And now you have law enforcement. You have police officers. It's not just pick a state. It's every state. You have police officers that sometimes have worn handcuffs. Legitimately have worn handcuffs. Oh, it's just a minor weed offense, and weed's legal now. You actually have a police officer in Minnesota who's not even a U.S. citizen. She's a permanent resident. So you have a non-U.S. citizen enforcing the law. Like, it's gotten so bad, and it's like it's a paradox because they are raising the expectation of perfection while they're lowering the standards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Campy, I didn't invite you back into the conversation yet, bro. We just hijacked your show now. This is the Ryan show now. Ryan, we're gonna get you music. Something. We'll set something up for you.
Okay. All right. I need a theme song.
All right. Yeah. No. Perfect. Hold on. Let me see if I can. What do we have here? Do we have anything? What is this?
I think you nailed it, though. I think that the standards are so low and the expectations are so high that it's just a recipe for failure.
No, it 100% is. It 100% is. And you look at, the layers of insulation that human resource departments and the people that they put between them and the actual performance. Like these cops are going to perform as their resume dictates. No one should be surprised when that happens.
Right.
But the human resources that are hiring them because they simply want to check boxes, their lives are never in danger. They don't ever have to work with them. They don't ever have to rely on them to keep each other safe. That's not their problem. They're checking boxes, and it's gotten so bad. And then you combine that with the fact that we now have a society that does not want the enforcement of law. So you have law enforcement in a society that does not want the enforcement of law, and they're being raised, they're being groomed in the academy as social workers. They are pumping out social workers with shields, guys that have no interest in collaring because they've never really been told to collar. They've been, it's all de-escalation and, let's talk nice to people. No, man, like sometimes you can't do that. So it's not even really their fault all the time. Like they're being underprepared.
You talk about human resources. I worked for, you've heard of open door policies?
Yeah, those exist.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I one up you. I worked for an administration that built an extra door because there weren't enough doors between them and us. They installed an extra door in the hallway, which was locked and you couldn't get through it.
Yeah. Only the dispatcher could probably buzz it open. That's it.
No.
Ironically,
it had to be the chief secretary. It was the only person who had access to that button.
Jesus.
That's how. And you had to call ahead. I'm sorry. The on-duty shift commander had to call ahead to ask permission to see if you were allowed to go down to that end of the building.
Wow.
Yeah. Great communication there. We all got along so well.
But no, we really love it. No, so that's a really, really long answer, Campy. I think too. No, neither of us would like to see our kids do this job. Plus, I mean, again, I have 2 daughters, so I would not want to see my daughters be dispatchers because both of my daughters are beautiful, and you fucking animals would impregnate them and lose your pensions. My daughters would go there and dispatch, and all of a sudden, everybody would coming back to the desk with Dunkin' Donuts and hanging out.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? How does this radio thing work? So, I mean, if I could just, maybe rub your back just a little bit. You want to go to have, let's go get Taco Bell after the tour. Next thing you know, you're married.
Yeah. Hey, my wife checks my phone. I'll just hit you up on the MDT.
Because nobody checks that.
The mobile dating terminal.
Nobody checks that. Meanwhile, the chief's sitting there with the whole printout of your sexting back and forth. Like, anything you guys want to tell me about?
Oh man, apparently that shit is so pervasive and so rampant. I remember I was talking with a guy who had to pull logs, the chat logs, for something official. And in looking through the chat logs for something official, they found so many people who had so many inappropriate conversations that they couldn't punish everybody. It was too many people to punish. The only thing they could do was send letters to everybody saying, knock it off. Because if they punished everybody, there wouldn't have been anybody left to work. Because apparently, again, it was so pervasive that it was like, if we let this one out of the bag, it's going to be a problem.
Too big to fail.
Too big to fail. Right. Well,
can't take everybody off the road.
Here's another story of a dispatcher turned side piece. Apparently, a guy on the job, I won't say the department, goes sideways with a dispatcher of a regional agency. Go figure. and a DV gets documented. Well, in the computer system, it's a countywide computer system. So as soon as that report got written, everybody had access to that report. And what's supposed to happen is it's obviously going to be an internal affairs related case. The report's supposed to get locked down by IA and limited distribution and such, right? Well, this was a weekend. And as we know, important people don't work on weekends. So there was nobody around to lock this call down.
So it never got locked.
So it never got locked down, right? So next thing you know, there's copies, screenshots of this report floating around because it involves a cop and a dispatcher. Everybody with access to the system knows. So I guess this screenshot gets sent around. Prosecutor's office gets involved because they want to know who disseminated it, who leaked it. And it was another one of those things where when they looked at the logs of who pulled up this report and read it, it was so many people.
They couldn't.
It goes bye-bye.
It was like they would have had to like suspend 100 cops in the county or something stupid. I'm exaggerating, but it was so many people.
Campy dodged that bullet. Good job, bro.
Thank God I can't operate a toaster, let alone a fucking.
They ended up sending the prosecutor's office sent a letter to every chief that had guys involved and was like, just so you know, we can't do anything about this, but here's what happened.
In other words, Control Alt Delete. Can we restart the system?
No one has ever done that. No one has ever done that in the history of Dota.
The problem is that in the history of dumb, somebody has already done that. We just don't remember it or never heard about it. That's the wildest part about cops. We're all pretty repeatable. We all do the same dumb shit and then all act surprised when we get
I didn't do it. I don't know who did it. I think you did it.
Yeah, right.
Deny everything.
That's the answer for everything.
Deny everything. Make counter accusations.
Yes, absolutely. Confuse and always walk around with a folder. Walk around with a folder just in case somebody asks you to do something. Be like, oh yeah, oh right, sorry. Just give me 1 second. I got to take care of this. I'll be right back.
I'm handling that thing.
Very important phone call. Very important.
Yep.
I had a lieutenant. I swear to God, I don't think this guy was ever on the phone for real. I think he was just a master at making you think he was too busy to ask anything of. Because dude would just fire down the hallways on the phone all the time. If you ever caught him off the phone, he'd be like, "Hey, Lieutenant, car 7 the other day, whatever it was, you know." He'd be like, "Oh, hang on a minute. Hello?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
I'll be right there. I gotta go.
Gotta go, man. Yeah,
that was the chief. I gotta go. I gotta go."
And you never sign anything the same way twice. So if they pull up a piece of paper, like, "Isn't this your signature?" No, this is my signature over here. Somebody must have forged that.
I've never seen that document before in my life.
Nope.
When you would get a call, do you remember answering the call, hoping it was going to be something exciting, figuring out that pretty quickly it wasn't all that exciting, but basically sizing up the person and creating an avatar in your mind of what this idiot looked like on the other end of the phone? Do you remember having this conversation and almost being like, Jesus Christ, I know what this fucking guy or girl or whatever it is looks like based upon the way they were complaining about, whether it was a parking situation, a dog, whatever it was. You created this image in your mind of, who the fuck am I talking to? And if there was a way, if I was like an artist, I would have crafted a picture of this swamp donkey, this stage 5 tier 2
street
thieving
urchin
twat waffle. Right. And you picture who the fuck is on the other end of this phone. And you wanted to be like, you know what, pause. I need to go find this fucker and see them face to face and be like, who are you? And who gave you the right to call?
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Do you remember this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, your mind is wants to fill in the blanks. I always said that you're better off telling me the truth than letting my creativity fill in the blanks, because my creativity is so much worse than the truth. You know, just be honest with me and tell me the truth, because if I fill in the blanks, this Mad Libs is going to go wild. You know, you know who. your question made me think of was Reggie Grant. You remember who I'm talking about? Reggie Grant.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Great dude. But with a name like Reggie Grant, having never met the man and only hypothesizing what he looks like based on his voice, because he was big in SCART. So you'd have
He
to
was a big SCART guy.
Call him in the middle of the night, wake him up. Hey, we got a call out. Hey, we got this. Hey, we got that. So you'd have a lot of telephone conversations with the man. Never met him. Now, Reggie Grant sounds like a giant black dude. By name alone, and then his voice. He has a very deep baritone, just sounds like a large man. So you picture this big black guy in your head. And then I remember the first time I met him, and he's, about my size and a white dude. And he's like, "Hi, I'm Reggie Grant." And I'm like, "No, you aren't. You can't be."
5'4", 130 pounds, heavy dandruff, really nice guy, means well.
Yeah, really nice guy. But he introduced himself, and I'm like, "No, you're not."
That is a real thing too, because there's even a guy for our NYPD guys. I don't even know I think he might have retired. There's an inspector in the city, Inspector Nickus is his name, and you hear him, and then what I had in my head envisioned for him is not at all what he looked like. But this guy apparently was badass. But you would hear him. We would spend so much time imitating his voice that we would lose our voice imitating him. And you could actually hear, like, listening to them, like them answer each other back and forth on the radio. You could hear these other supervisors every time Inspector Nickus would get on them. Like, you can hear them rolling their eyes through their voice. He's like, "Steve," he's like, "Inspector Barry, Captain Barry, is you on the air?" It's like, "Steve, get your men outside of their cars in front of the group. Scooter Sergeant on the air. Get them ahead of the group." Like screaming. "Okay, Inspector. Okay, yes, Inspector." like you could actually hear it. But yeah, no, that imagining what people are like through their voices, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
it is. And you develop a profile, if you will. I mean, with profiling, not in the 4-letter sense of the word, but like you're generating a profile on what this person looks like, walks like, talks like, what they're driving. You can tell in the first couple seconds if they're driving a Prius or if they're driving an F-150. And pretty quick, right?
Oh, and Mike Freed says he's still on. Great. Now somebody's getting jammed up. It's not me. Good job, Campy. Way to be.
Was it comments? I'm not following them.
Yeah. No, Mike Freed, he's put him up here. Where'd it go? There it goes. Yeah, he says Nickus is still on. So, and like I said, he's in the middle of everything, though. Like, you see pictures of him, he's right in the middle of these protest groups with his bullhorn and just screaming at people. Is that Manhattan South Scooter Sergeant on the air? Jimmy, I need your man. No lights. Turn the lights off. Get in the middle of the group.
See,
move those RMPs. Move them.
I can listen to that all day long and just cry. I will sit there with a bowl of chips and a bottle of bourbon and just laugh.
Listening. That we do. Like we put on Citywide and we just listen to this guy and he just sounds off on everybody. Is it Manhattan South Store on the air? Go ahead, Inspector. Like it's just like again, you could hear the eye rolls. But at the same time, again, to this point with the radio and the importance of dispatch, I'll never forget during the George Floyd riots. Listen, every department has something that they do really, really well. NYPD moves bodies. I mean, Times Square alone on New Year's Eve, they move bodies. They control crowds. They specialize in that. They have it down to a science. And during the George Floyd riots, and I'll never forget, it was when, again, I wasn't working on 9/11. I wasn't a cop on 9/11. I was dispatching. So I didn't have to hear that radio traffic. But listening to the city radio traffic, things have deteriorated when cops now, especially in an agency as large as NYPD, are calling each other by their first names.
Yes.
Like, like Campy, get in there and get them. Yeah. Campy, when someone's calling for help and they're saying, Campy, go. Like that's you know that things are deteriorating. And there was I forget whether it was the 8-0 or the 8-8. They tried to set the Barclays on fire, and then they were like storming one of the precincts down there, and the CO that was there kept asking for help. And like I said, I'll never forget it, because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, if things are getting this bad with them, like, shit's gonna get out of control. If they no longer have the control, things. And the guy, the CO said, he goes, Central, this may be the last radio transmission I make. Can I please get bodies? Like, and that, to hear that on the radio, it's like, holy shit. What is he seeing that he's saying that? Again, from a department that specializes in crowd control. That's their thing. If it's to that point, I mean, had
they already called for mobilizations?
Yeah, they had called, and
they still just weren't getting
it. Got, so what happened was, I think there were so many people blocking streets, like people they just could not get to where they had to get to. It was the night they tried to set the Barclays on fire, like, you know, because that makes a lot of fucking sense. It was a peaceful assemblage of people. They were just
mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful. But that stresses the importance of dispatchers, and having, you know, a good dispatcher on the other side of the line. You need that. You need somebody. It's such an important job. It's such an underrated, underappreciated job.
It makes or breaks what you can and can't do on the road.
Yeah.
How many times you come in and you hear a shitty dispatcher on the radio and you're like, I'm not doing fucking shit tonight.
Yep. Another day looking the other way.
Or that dispatcher would take a break and you'd hear another dispatcher come on and you'd be like, oh fuck, I gotta stop a car real quick.
Yep.
And you try to get it, get it in.
Or they leave.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. Good dispatcher, make or break you, for real. And I worked with plenty of really good ones, and a handful of ones that I, didn't think were very safe for the rank and file.
We're not all curing cancer. You know what I mean? Some of us are just along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freed, when I was that night I was talking about, Freed said that was the night that Rob Corbett got smashed in the mouth with a brick.
I remember seeing those pictures.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember seeing those pictures. Yeah. Where was he assigned at the time? Was he still doing the legal shit?
Not sure. That's a good question. He may have been. But yeah, that was an insane night. That was an insane night. Campy, you're getting a 5-minute warning from Mike. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mike is getting very nervous. I don't know if you know this or not. It's really all about him.
We got this.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Ryan.
Rob would be a good guest. You should get Rob on. But
yes, 100%.
100%. Yeah. Ryan, we got to get you back on because this is fun and we can do a bunch of other things together. Thank you so much for coming on and laughing.
Ryan,
with us.
do you have anything to plug? Any good divorce attorneys for the cops out there that are impregnating dispatchers? I mean, what are we doing? Look, here we come. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's. The booth operates slow.
No, 15 left. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
He might as well have just handed you a piece of paper and said,
"No, we have our own Sandman."
I hope you managed your fucking time better when you were both dispatchers. I'd be waiting for a call like 25 minutes for somebody to fucking respond. Well, you two time to stop.
You might as well have just asked for anything back yet on the warrant check.
Yeah, exactly right.
Hey, Curtis, what's the status on that rig?
Shut up! We're 1 hour and 49 minutes into this warrant check. And
I'm sorry, it's a common name.
I got the dispatchers a cake once for dispatcher week, and it said, anything back yet, County? With a question mark. I said, great. Imagine a warrant check taking so long, I was able to get a cake made in the amount of time it took.
And Freed said yes, he was doing the legal stuff. Corbett at that time, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But he's listen, another guy right in the middle of everything. Yeah. And it's again, hats off to NYPD. The bosses get right into it. There's no leading from behind
No.
with those supervisors.
No,
They're right in the
no.
middle of
They're
it.
right
No,
up
they're
there.
not hiding in headquarters.
At
Full
all.
frontal.
At all. Full frontal. You knew it. That sounds
Love
so
it.
hot.
I can get
Just
that
say
in
it
there.
slower next
I
time.
know. I'm gonna work on that.
A little deeper too.
One
Mike,
final.
thank you.
No, thank you. One final before we have to wrap it up. Do you remember with new dispatchers, once they were cutting their teeth and getting comfortable, you call in a fake car stop with the DL number for the fucked up name, like One Hung Low?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
the funny fucked up names. You'd be like, hey, Gores, run me a number. New Jersey C0.
Yeah, that comes back to so and so. Common spelling. Like it's like Uzbekistan. Common spelling.
Yeah. That would always nowadays they'd probably fucking indict you for like computer crimes or something. But yeah, back in the day, you had your little book of this is a funny license plate, this is a funny name, this is a funny whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a dispatcher that was pissing you off, so you went into the cemetery to check warrants?
I told Campy before going the other way. Like, no, I hypothetically, again, I don't know if the statute of limitations has passed. Hypothetically, when I was dispatching, there would be absolute ghost calls, 100%. When you had that cop that was just a pain in the dick, you're like, yeah, I got a call. There's a dog roaming the streets, and like I said, it's the furthest street, right on the edge of town. Like that, it takes them like 20 minutes to get there. Oh, it's GOA. Oh, wow, man.
Noise complaint, corner of Rumson and Conover, and it's the cemetery.
You have what's this game night thing you have here, Campy? What are you doing with this?
So we are doing a fundraiser for the Monmouth County Child Advocacy Center, which is where I worked when I was in the sex crimes unit that works with children who are mistreated. We're doing a bingo fundraiser. Bingo, Name That Tune, and Trivia, Friday, May 30th at the Shillelagh Club in Belmar, which is amazing. Super cheap drinks, which is delicious. $20 to go in, to play, to have fun, or you can donate. You can also go to www.friendsofmccac.org to make a donation or to buy tickets, or you can buy tickets at the door. Shillelagh Club's amazing. It's right in Belmar, which is really fun. Super great time. Also, best of luck next week to the Police Unity Tour, who leaves on Friday to head to D.C. in honor of our brothers and sisters lost in the line of duty, especially my brother-in-law, Brian Doherty, who's participating in Team Monmouth County. Making it rain, getting it done, guys. Drive safe, have a safe ride, have so much fun. This was a great show. Thank you guys so much. Mo, thank you. This was amazing. Blue, thank you.
Blue put the comment, the link to the game night in the comments.
Oh, outstanding. Links in the comments. There you go.
I sent the teletype in to
I sent you an administrative message.
Checkerboard Acorn.
No, legit. I sent you a teletype in the email. Did you get it? You could use it to close.
Check your email.
Hold on, stand by.
Campy, he was trying to tell you to check your email. Campy.
Oh, email. Stand by. I have email.
I will. While you're doing that, I will say.
No, check your email.
Shillelagh Club is an awesome time for that
Yes,
Child Advocacy Center, and the Child Advocacy Center itself is a really, really great organization. Obviously by its name, Child Advocacy Center. I responded to the email that you sent me with the link to this. I don't know if that Mike something.
Don't point at me like that. While you're doing that, Genevieve Jones, she was a Miami cop. Old school. Back when it was hard for women to be cops. She was badass. She says cemetery checks were great.
Occasionally if you needed to make a point, you were able to do that. It was good. But the Child Advocacy Center, to finish my thought, if anybody's interested in going, just that organization alone, to support them and be able to do a good cause is really, really
help with the kids. Yeah.
It's all about them.
Amazing.
Campy,
amazing.
did you get that email?
I mean, it's really it's like watching a chimp try to put a puzzle together. Look, it's like email.
Ryan, did you send
What
that to
is
my
this
personal?
email?
I just responded to the email you sent me, Michael.
Wait, did I send you an email or a text message? Hold on. All right, hold on.
You sent me an email with the link to this.
Oh yeah.
Who's running the booth? Does that work?
There you go. There you go.
I'll end with that. Michael, read it out loud. I'll end with that.
Theft occurred sometime between the evening of April 18 and reporting time of 0900 this date. Doll was removed from unsecured open garage. Doll is described as a hustler model, white female with blonde wig. Doll is in the crouching position with the mouth wide open. Height is approximately 4 feet. Can't be. That's actually your feet. With red fingernails and toenails. Doll also has attachments. The theft reported value is $1,500. Good Lord. Location of theft. Any information to place on the police? Beautiful. Beautiful, dude. $1,500. My God.
Finding things like that were the highlight of my dispatching career.
All right. Mike has had absolutely enough. Campy, yeah, great show. Ryan, thank you very much,
Ryan,
man.
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime. I'm kicking you off the stage, and then we're gonna give Campy his plugs. Give me 1 second here. Ryan will check you out. Campy, you got anything you want to plug, bro? All right, let him plug his own show. Go ahead. Don't try to get funny though, Campy.
We're good. We're good.
Go ahead. Plug your show.
It's a private event.
What do you mean it's a private event? It is?
Yeah, for real. True story.
Oh, okay. So you have any other plugs then?